All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to SAK Backtracks. This is episode, what is this? I think this is episode 10. We've done 10 episodes on this so far. So welcome back again. I'm going to preface, just like I did last week, having some technical difficulties, some technical issues, but I think we have them worked out enough to get going. So I want to start by saying welcome to everybody. Hopefully you can all see me and hear me. If you can't hear me, let us know, and John will let me know that we cannot be heard. I'm seeing Chris Finkston is joining us. Hi, Chris. How are you? And he says, you're old. And guess what? I am old. By the way, just a couple of weeks ago, on the 19th of July, I turned 60, Chris Finkston. So I am old. You are right. That is right. Chris Finkston looks good. And I don't know if that's an up-to-date picture there. And Terry says, then show some respect. And I'm not sure if he's talking to Chris, having respect for me, or if I'm not showing enough respect. I guess we'll work that out by the end of the show here today. And I see that Morgan Russell is joining us. Again, Morgan is in the house somewhere. I'm up in a room socked away so that hopefully this can all work. So, she's so excited to see these talented people. And we have a lot of wonderful, talented people going to be coming up and being with us today, technology willing. But first of all, just want to make sure we do all our opening and welcomes of all that stuff in terms of our group that's here, the people who are joining us online. This is our Facebook Live. We do this every day of the week. There's something going on SAK.com. And if you go to SAK.com/live, that's a little shortcut that will take you right to the SAK Facebook Live page, where not only can you see, like if you went there today, you would see this because it's actually showing right now. You would pick up right on that. Or if this is before or after this event, you could actually see all the recorded live events that we've got throughout the month. I think there are, as I said, there are 9 or 10 other episodes of SAK Backtracks, which you could follow using that form, but that'll take you right to our Facebook Live page. You can see a lot of things coming up on the screen there. We also have this on SAK Comedy Lab on our YouTube channel. We're going live on Facebook and YouTube. I think more people are usually on the Facebook, but we'll see. But look at all those things coming up and popping around the screen, making the screen look good. That is with the help of a wonderful engineer, tech guy. His name is John Balines, and I believe he's in the house. John, are you there? Can you come and say hello with me up here?
I'm here, Dave. Yeah, thanks. Hi, everybody.
John, how about that for last minute trying to get something worked out here?
Oh, man. I don't know what is going on. We have the same MacBook, you and I both, and I have the same crazy issues with this very expensive computer that we have. But, you look great now.
Yeah. Well, I did not know that you had the suck book like I have. And,
yes, the same one.
Continues to work better. We'll see. I've got some things on another screen that if they don't play, we'll just have to work it out and go there. But anyway, John, welcome. Thank you so much for being in the background in the show. I may call you to the front as if and as we need you, but we'll see how it goes. I have a feeling when everybody's on the screen, that's when I start getting wiggly. So we might have to do this in turns, but we'll see if we can get everybody up. But a couple of more announcements that I want to mention. Remember, SAK is open. We're barely open. I think we're doing like one show a week right now on Friday and one show on Saturday. We are social distancing. We are masks on everybody, the audience, as well as the performers on the stage, the staff, the volunteers. Everybody is masked and doing our best to be socially distant and conscientious about that, and following the rules that are put out by our governments as well. So we're not doing as many shows as we used to. So it is a little bit tight right now. As you know, many companies are. So many things seem like they're folding. Every time I drive out and around, I'm seeing another 1 or 2 restaurants or businesses close that used to be open. So that's very sad. But here's how you can help SAK. We're doing these live streams, but this is not a profit center. There's no, it's not a way to build the coffers there. We're just doing it for fun and to keep ourselves busy and to try something out here and there. And so I've been doing the SAK Backtracks for 11 weeks now of chronicling the history of the SAK Comedy Lab and SAK Theater Company. So anyway, if you want to help SAK out, John, I don't know if you can bring up that graphic to show. If you go to our website, SAK.com, there's this little purple little thing box that'll come up. There should be something in the overlays too, if you can give me that little purple thing too. I could find it myself. There it is. That's what I'm talking about. So you'll see that on our front page. There's a little donate button. We don't expect you to donate. If you got got it and you got a little extra, that'd be awesome. But more importantly, there's a button to buy tickets. You can actually buy a ticket in advance, and that would really help us out. You're buying a ticket for a future show. It's basically a little gift card, but the gift card is a ticket. So if you wanted to get 4 tickets for you and your family for some show in the future, you could use them now or in the future sometime. We encourage you to click that button and help us out in that way as well. Yes, you're stocking up on SAK by purchasing those gift cards and or donating. So we've got the people today are going to be from the SAK past. I'll let you know kind of about the time frame that these guys came into SAK. And then we're also going to be doing our hacky sacky. You know, we do the hacky sacky. I give a little clue for a 2-word rhyming answer. And so you get the clue, and then you have to chime in on the comments to see if you can get it right. So let's get one of those going, John. I think the first one is easy. So let's get that. So the hacky sacky number 1. This means hacky sacky means they're 2 2-syllable words. Hack sack would be 2 1-syllable words. This is a hacky sacky. Your clue is outside cats in danger. Outside cats in danger. So that's your clue for the first hacky sacky. You know who's really good at this? Robbie Pygot's really good. Steve Pernick's really good. Terry Olson. We'll see. I'm trying to make them a little more challenging for them. Anyway, we're talking about the SAK past and the SAK future. Once again, this is our timeline for SAK. If you can see the many years that SAK has been around. And of course, we're focusing now technically on this time. You see there where it says EPCOT 1982. That's kind of the time frame we're focusing on right here. We're not focusing on EPCOT in 1982, 1983. Actually, while all the originals came off the road from Renaissance festivals and started working at EPCOT and kind of getting the ball rolling on getting those shows and performances going there, 365 days a year, something's going on. Actually, 364 days a year, because we always took 1 day off for our company party. But so while that was happening, all the originals had to come in and get that started, as well as some other performers. They wanted to continue the road performances and the festival performances. So they actually brought in and hired a couple of troupes that even it blossomed from that, but 2 troupes of performers that would travel around the country, travel around the world to get that job done of continuing those festivals. And so that's who we've got here today joining us. So I'm going to bring them to the stage. And but first, I forget, got to ask one more thing. We want you to share this. If you don't mind, if you're on Facebook, just click the share button and let people know that you're watching this. Hopefully, for some reason, I am awful in the Facebook algorithm reach factor. When I post something, it's like minimal in terms of reach, probably because I'm not on that often, like some of you wonderful SAK people. Look at that! Bev Fraser Holoboff is a winner for the first hacky sacky. It's Feral Peril. That is right. Outside Cats in Danger is Feral Peril. Yay! And it's also somebody who's not Robbie Pygot and Steve Pernick. For well done, Bev, getting into this. I'm going to get you some sort of prize. So I'll contact you later, because I saw where your comment is. But you get a prize for that first hacky sacky. We'll give you the second one in a couple of minutes. We're not going to throw it up right now, because I got to get these people up on here. But share this. Share this with your stream. Share it on Facebook and share it on the YouTube channel, and that way we can get more reach and more people getting on here. All right, enough of my yakking. I hope these people are still in line and online here. So I actually invited 6 of the performers. There were like 8, there were 10 performers that made up these 2 troupes. And through scheduling and whatnot, I was able to extract 6 of them, but actually one of them still isn't with us today. So I've got 5 folks. So there's basically it's Troupe A and Troupe B, and I'll explain a little bit more about that in a little bit. But I'm going to bring to the screen the folks I have from Troupe A. So this would be Gary Rohrman and Luann Adams. Let's bring them to the screen and say hello. Hello, Gary.
Hello.
What's up?
And hello, Luann.
Hello.
Or as we lovingly call you, Louie. Now, you two are part of this troupe. I'll explain in a little bit where, when, and how this troupe traveled. So we're going to try an experiment. I'm going to try to actually bring the other 3 onto the same screen. But John, just beware, if I start freezing up, we'll just kind of work them one at a time and bring in Gary and Luann, and then we'll bring in the other 3. So we'll try to add them in. The other troupe that was working across the world from them, or across the country from them, I think you guys even might have intersected at some point. And this is Jamie Meyer Rick Kunst and Diana Brune. Let's bring them in and see if I don't freeze up there. Hello, you all.
Yeah.
That's Jamie waving and Diana clapping, and Rick, give us a little wave or something. Yay! A little clappy wave as well. All right, so far so good. I think that everybody is being seen and heard. What I want to do throughout this, we want to get to know you guys a little bit. We want to hear some of your stories. I actually have some contests planned for you. Some you guys are going to have to work for your supper a little bit, and so I'll explain what those things are going to go on in a little bit
on the road.
Don't worry about some of that now. But right now, let me just have everybody just go through and just, if you wouldn't mind, say your name, and then real quickly, we know you were in one of the troops in '83, but just real quickly, kind of your years of service with SAK, where you were, it's like, so I was 81 through 85, as well as being one of the road troops. Okay, so let's start with Jamie. If Jamie, you don't mind, go ahead and tell us.
Hi, I'm Jamie. I went on the tour with SAK in '83 on Troop B, which I think is a good troop. And then I worked with SAK at EPCOT for a while, not on site, but I wrote plays that many of them didn't get done at EPCOT, but a couple did. And then I kind of jobbed in and out for SAK for a long time. I live in Minnesota, and I did the Minnesota Festival for many, many years, jobbed around at different festivals, and ended my my very storied career in about 1994.
All right, very good. All right, let's go on down the. I'm going to mix it up with troops there. So let me jump up to Luann there.
Hi, me and Costa started in Minnesota. This is mental. See, it's too shiny. Mental illness to the left, social diseases to the right. On top, and then went down to cut, and then being on the tour for years. Had my suitcase for a month, and then right there down. And then I did after the did festivals here and there. I think did Houston twice and did Maryland a couple times. Then did Minnesota a few more times after that. And so
Right.
I think it was just somebody that was called in when you needed somebody. But I live in New York City right now, and delighted to be included here.
Very good. Yay! All right, let's pop down to Rick down there.
Hi, I'm Rick Kunst. I started in SAK in March of 1981, and I stayed through the end of the Fringe, the first Fringe, which was May of '92.
Okay, great.
And I worked both. So
very good. All right, let's pop up to Gary up there. Gary Rorman.
Greetings, all. So I started with SAK. Actually, Dave and I had our own show called Pain and Agony, and we used to perform opposite SAK. So we were quite familiar. We were actually there when they got the news that they had been asked to come to do EPCOT. And I remember counseling them and so forth about whether they wanted to leave their bohemian ways to join corporate performance. But Dave and I thought that was cool. And then lo and behold, the next year, I decided to I talked to Herb Hansen. Herb said, hey, we have callbacks. I went down to the Landmark Center, and suddenly I was cast in the troupe to go on the road. So I was the road manager that year, and we had a great crew. We had so much fun, and we did wonderful shows, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. We also did children's theater. And then from there, when we came back after the tour, I continued to work at EPCOT for several years, and I was with SAK proper through 1989. But then I also was one of the founding fathers of SAK Comedy Lab. I was with Mud Puppies and SAK Comedy Lab, and I was with that all the way up until I believe about 1993. I believe was when I started doing some what we want real theater. Yeah, that went well. Anyway, so.
Well, Gary, it sounds like you're going to need your own show to go in on all of that. Gary, I found this in the archives, if you remember that.
Oh, my Lord. That was Colorado. The Meadow stage, yes.
That was the little...
and that was the only moment in the show where we were standing still.
I think that's right. All right, Diana, let's hear from you.
I started in '83 with Troupes. And after Disney closed for us for SAK, I went to Universal because of SAK, because of the work that Herbie did with Universal. So was hired there for casting and then to be a performer, and then into casting again. Then from there in 92, sorry, went to Walt Disney World again because of SAK, because we did the first Street Mo. So here I am doing literally SAK again, but for another company until recently.
Wonderful. All right. Well, we'll dig a little deeper into some of that stuff. But just for the people who may not know kind of how it all works with the traveling and all that, I have this little graphic to show. There were two troops. They both kind of started or emanated. Somebody says, "Nice boots, die." Oh, behind you. See your boots. There's something on the wall there. So you guys both kind of started your tours in Largo, I think, but let me see if I can get this to work. This a little animation, hopefully, that will show us a little bit of kind of how that works. So you can see we got the one troop there, and then you guys. So this is the Jamie's troop. You guys went to St. Louis, to Tulsa, to San Diego, and then you went up to LA, and then you went over to Kansas City. And then the second troop, you guys went to Waxahachie, you went to Colorado, then you went to Toronto, Chicago, Minnesota, and down to Houston. So it was quite a lot of travel that you guys were doing at that time. And you covered a lot of ground. And as you can see by all those lines there too, it's amazing how you guys had sometimes even crisscrossed paths over each other. I know that as things continued on, you guys, after your tour ended, there was a lot of mixing and matching. And I remember, I think that picture that I showed with Pain and Agony, Gary, somehow I joined you, Gary, and your troop in Texas or Colorado or both or something like that.
Well, yeah, you came out and joined us for Texas and Colorado, where we had established ourselves before SAK. And you and I would do Pain and Agony, and then I was doing double duty. We were doing the rope ladders as well, which is back when it was a show. By the way, I saw it at Minnesota a little while ago. Yikes!
Yeah.
Just to make it a show, and so yeah, you were there and helped out with some of that. But we were doing Pain and Agony and SAK.
I can't believe you remember you're doing the rope ladder. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. All the amazing things and the amount of hard work that you guys did and all had to do, were required to do. So I want to just do something fun. We're going to play a little game here with you guys here. So let me see if I can get my... you don't need to see it. So this is the 80s schmadies. I got a little bit of an 80s trivia for you. So we've got we're supposed to have Steve Hosley with us from the Luann and Gary troop as well, but he wasn't able to join us at the last minute. So it's 2 against 3. But remember that the other team has Jamie, Luann, and Gary. So you guys are still
he's a play writer.
You still have an advantage here. All right, here's some. So these questions come straight from the 80s, and there'll be some. I don't know what we'll get for points or awards. So this is a kind of an EPCOT question for those of you who knew or remember EPCOT. Remember at the Imagination Pavilion, Dreamfinder had Pigment, but in Michael Jackson's Captain EO, who was Captain EO's whimsical sidekick? Raise your hand or call it out. Who knows?
A roll of duct tape.
What'd you call it?
That was a gaffe in the film. I'm sorry.
Not duct tape.
Duct tape in the film. I'm sorry, that was not exactly.
You're like the Paul Lynde. You always have the joke while you try to have time to think. So does anybody remember Michael Jackson's little sidekick? It was a little animal in there that was with him. Okay, I can tell it's already tough for you. That's a tough question. I'm going to give you a hint. There's a chicken wing restaurant that pluralized the name and has done very well.
KFC.
Well, that's not the one. I was thinking more hot wings. What?
Hoot.
Well, you got to go the whole way, just not the plural.
Hooter.
That's right. It was Hooter. That's what Michael Jackson used to say in there. Hooter. So that's good. So, Gary, I'm going to give you that. You've made your way through that. I'm going to give you that one. All right. Who recorded this 1980s hit, Take on Me? Take on Me. Who recorded Take on Me?
Aha.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Do you have an answer? No, that was the answer. You guys were correct. And I tell you, Gary got his aha in before your aha.
Yeah. There's a really good version of it, really slow version now on Spotify. The guy sung recently in the last 3 years, which changes the whole sort of kitschy dynamic to it.
Yeah, well, we should pull that up if we can. Now, Gary, whatever it is that you're drinking there, it seems to be helping you. So you're okay. Here's the next one. Now, a video has recently gone viral of two young black guys, they're twins, on YouTube, experiencing what famous 80s hit for the very first time?
Phil Collins, In the Air Tonight.
Oh, Rick comes in with a win there. Yes, boom for Rick there. All right, I'm going to give you one more question to see if you guys can tie it up here for the B Squad here. Here's one more. Who played Sarah Connor in the Terminator movies? Her name was?
Linda Hamilton.
Go! Jamie gets it for a win. Oh, man. So that's good. All right. You guys are all tied up, so everything we've done up to now has just been a waste of time. But it's good to continue on. And Luann and Diana, you guys did great.
Oh, thank you.
I have more things that you guys are going to have to be involved in a little bit as well. So, all right. So, one thing I do want to talk about is, we had mentioned about the ladder and doing the shows. I gotta find me a little picture to bring up here. So. See if I can bring this up there. But Diana showed this to me and reminded me of this. This was put out by SAK. It was an audition notice. And I'm going to maybe make it a little bit bigger here. But here's the audition notice that went out. It said, positions available in 2 touring companies of 5 people each. The salary is $500 per month. All transportation, housing, and food will be, and health insurance provided after the first 3 months. And I hope that's just for the health insurance. That's after the first 3 months. It's also got workman's comp because it's dangerous out there. And then, so then it goes through the, what they have for the rehearsals and stuff. So that was a pretty, how was that working for $500 a month? And then tell us a little bit, and you guys can just raise your hand who's got a story about this. We know we had the SAK shows, but there was this Jacob's Ladder, which, as I understand it, was the real moneymaker. So kind of roll us into how this all works, and maybe if there's different things for each troupe that you experienced on your tour, you can let us know. So who'd like to start off, kind of tell us about this? How did that work? Luann?
Well, we got some extra money because we did the Frog and Toad show. This is me and Oz and Steve Pride, Frog, Toad, and Owl, and we would perform all over Hillsborough County and during the weekday through Friday, so we could. What I remember one time for 1,000 kindergartners, and we were doing the bumps at the end of the bed. Maybe you remember this, Gary. And I think you were. I was Toad, and then I think you were Frog, but we had only these pieces of wood as blocks, and we had the fake cardboard set, right? And we mimed everything. We mimed getting into bed, and the fake was up, and some kindergarten in the front yells, "You got to brush your teeth!" And we had thousands of kindergartners screaming, "Brush your teeth, brush your teeth, brush your teeth." And I remember just frozen. And either it was you, Gary, or it was Steve Pride, got out of the bed, all of us were shaking, mimed opening a fake cabinet. So the rest of us opening a fake cabinet, toothbrush, took out a tube of toothpaste, put some on the brush, did this, did that. We closed fake cabinets, got back into bed, and finished show, and the audience quieted down. But there was nothing like that with that feeling of a live audience, but of being just screamed at by what the right thing to do was at the time, and then having to respond in order to finish the show.
Well, I think that's just a great example of how SAK has always been this yes and, kind of this improv feel, which we still is a signature of SAK today. But even in those days, you guys just said yes to it. Now, in that instance, you guys could not continue the show because they were yelling so loud until you said yes. So you were kind of forced, but just going along with it, and that's how the element of improv was always in the SAK experience. Now, you did add another element to the trouble that I have been describing, and that is, so we talked about at the shows on the weekend, you would do the shows and run the rope ladder, but now you're adding in during the week, you went around to schools to do sometimes multiple schools.
Oh,
we got our money's worth for this $500 a week.
Sometimes we had 3 shows in a day, and we unload and load and unload and load. But there were 2 troops, and Gary, I think you played frog, and I only had one part.
I had owl and frog.
Yeah, and Paula,
I think my favorite though was we were in Texas. I think Houston at the time, or was it Dallas? And we were at a big school, and I'm standing there, and I had my black vest on and a black tie with a pearl tie pin and my long hair and my earrings and my boots and my jeans, and I'm standing there looking cool, and these kids are filing by going in to watch Frog and Toad. And this one kid stopped dead in his tracks, and he deadpants up, and he goes, "Like a rhinestone cowboy." And I thank him for that. I do. I think being humbled by youth, it's wonderful.
Humbled by the youth. Who else has something to tell you?
The ladder was a super fun thing to do at the time. It, for those of you that maybe did a festival with SAK, but you never did rope ladder, it was a big part of, especially in the older days when you had like 10 people working at a festival. That kind of money was really important because they paid for room and board. But it was super fun to do, and it was really amazing to watch. Everybody had sort of a different style because you actually had to hawk the ladder. You actually had to try and you'd show up for your hour shift, and someone would high five you, and then they'd go, and then you're left in this sort of circle of hay bales with this ladder that would spin very quickly. And of course, we all had been trained, so we knew how to climb it. But it was really cool to see how different people had different ways of actually bringing people in. Haas was fantastic.
Yeah,
take off his shirt,
walk up backwards and and walk back down again.
Eventually, you should probably let somebody pay.
He was making it look so easy. And then you get He-Man Masters of the Universe who would go down really hard. And it was kind of a sadomasochistic pleasure to run the rope.
Here's a couple of pictures of the rope ladder. This is Paula on the left there, and that's Paula climbing the ladder. She got the ladder on the right. Paula, I don't know who's making that call there, but Paula actually started learning the ladder very early on in life, and this is a picture of Paula very early on. But there's Jamie. Look at this, Jamie walking the ladder straight up. I wanted to find a picture because I know Steve could walk up the ladder backwards, but this was as close as I could get. So like after that, he'd still make his way up. But some people would get up that ladder in some amazing ways. I do recall.
It was fun because it's true. I see Terry's comment. It would be where you'd sit there. You had to walk a fine line with, poking fun at people who couldn't do it because you were seriously questioning their masculinity, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is, and you could show them exactly how to do it. There's no way. I think I may have had 2 people be able to climb it, and those are people who came back and wasted a whole lot of money on it, and finally, figured it out. We're able to make it to the top. But I would love to, Terry, if we still have one of those, I'd love to take one to a bike week sometime. I think I could clean up. I'm just saying.
Take one to a bike. That'd be great. I am going to, if you guys will help me, I'm going to take a little bit of a break, and then we'll get to your story here, Diana, of John, bring up the second hacky sacky. We are already into hacky sacky number 2, and I believe this is a hacky sacky as well. So 2 syllable words. Malevolence towards a member. Malevolence towards a member is the clue for the hacky sacky number 2. 2 syllable words. Malevolence towards a member. All right. Diana, did you have your hand up? Because I'm going to have you tell a story, and then I'm going to go into another round of game for you. So did you have a story to share?
I did. It'll be very short. I have a confession to make that I never could ever climb the rope ladder. I never did do it. I loved hawking it. And I remember that the boys in our troop left Katie and I to study and accomplish the rope ladder whilst they went horseback riding. And all I did was cry all day, failing and falling and not getting to ride a horse.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe I don't know how that you could, I thought you couldn't go on the festival if you didn't know how to do that ladder. Amazing. Well, good for you. I'm glad you're confessing after all these years. Excellent.
Yes.
I dressed up as Diana for the final crew. I dressed up as Diana to show Herbie that she could climb the ladder. So
fair enough.
To go on tour with me.
Fair enough.
The truth revealed after all these years.
Helping your neighbor out. All right, we're going to go into our contest round number 2. So. All right, so in 1 minute, you got to do something. John, if you got that wheel of names, I'm going to have you bring up the wheel of names. We got to see who's going to be competing on this. It's going to be one from each troop. So go ahead and give it a spin there, and we'll see who's representing first. It's going to be, Diana Brune. You will be competing against this, Diana. Now, Diana, I want you to choose somebody from the other squad. And John, go ahead. We'll leave those on there, the other one on there. And for Diana, so who do you want from the other squad? It's either Luann or Gary that you'll be competing against here. Now, Gary was very good at the trivia, so I'm not trying to push for anything. But who would you like to compete against?
I would love to go with Luann.
Oh, very good. All right. So this one is a little tricky. This is a timed event. You are going to have 1 minute, and within 1 minute, you have to accomplish the following task. You have to bring either a roll of toilet paper or an egg and present it in front of your screen. A roll of toilet paper or an egg.
Run.
You have 1 minute.
Go get it.
Now?
Go, Diana.
All right. While they're going, we'll just have some talk with the rest of you guys while the women are running there. And wait a second. Oh my gosh! Oh, it was a close one, but Diana is the winner. She only needed 15 seconds of that 30-second time. So, yeah, you get a round of applause for the B Troop. Very good. Now, very important, ladies, don't forget to return that before the night is over. That would be a bad, sad thing. All right. So now we're kind of talking about, I want to talk about the lifestyle that you guys used to have. Now, I know in when I joined you guys I think it was in Waxahachie. It was actually, I can't remember the name of the town, or it might have been Waxahachie. But you had a lot of festival performers go out on the road, and they live in the campground. Not only on the weekends, but also during the weeks, they will just be there. But SAK was, at least we had a little bit for much of the time where you could live in an apartment or a location, a house or something like that during the week, and then go out, and maybe you did camp out on the weekends. So tell us a little bit about the accommodations. I know in Dallas, it was what did you call it? It was on Lover's Lane. That's where the place was. And there were a lot of, I think I have some pictures while you guys are talking about it. But tell us, what was life like? Obviously, in Waxahachie, you didn't have to go into the school shows during the week, so you could party by the pool on Lover's Lane. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing during the week, living, etc., in these different places.
When we were in Boulder, we had we had a 24-hour movie party. Gary, do you remember? I think you were the curator of the movies, but we always had at least a huge party where everybody came to the house during the time that we were at that festival. And I can tell I've never seen the end of break rants, because it was like 2 to 4 in the morning. But you had all these phenomenal classic movies. I remember in Boulder, but each time we were at a different place, there was a party with a different theme. Right. And Houston was, we had one Halloween party.
I think it was Houston, wasn't it? That was with the green punch that was.
Oh my goodness.
And we had, they were picking people up the next day. Yeah.
Here's a couple of pictures. Robbie Pygott is dyslexic, but I'm gonna give it to you. That's when you have malevolence towards a member, that is phallus malice. Yes. This one wasn't for children there. It wasn't PG-13. Robbie Pygott for the win again.
There you go, Robbie.
Anyway, I'm gonna. These are a couple of pictures here. Oh, that's the wrong one. Let's see. Where is it? There we go. That's a. So this is at Lovers Lane. Look at these festival people taking over. This is like an apartment complex where people live. And so
there was a lot of traveling performers. Cotton Patch Gospel was in town at the time.
Yeah,
he resided there. And some of the people from the orchestra. So it was like an artist enclave anyway. And we'd bring all of our bohemian freaks in for parties, and it was a lot of fun. We did have a great time. And then, Dave, to your point, sometimes we'd stay at the site. You know, we took with us, but we had a Suburban, and we had a pop-up camper that we took as well, which we'd leave on site. So sometimes, you know, we'd stay out there during the week or whatever. And it was nice to have some options, but to be able to get away, because we did work hard during those, 2 days a week, we busted our hind ends.
Yeah.
And you needed 5 days just to recuperate. So
and count that money from the ladder. What about you guys in Troupe B? What was your experience like? Were you living in apartments or houses alike, or what was your weeks in between like?
We were we had decent places to live. Although I have a story, and Rick and Diana will have to fill in other parts because we had to split up when we went to San Diego. We worked that festival, but the festival went bankrupt halfway through the time. And the same owner owned the Los Angeles festival that we were planning to go to.
Yeah, we saw you go on the timeline. You went from San Diego to LA.
To Los Angeles, and there was no festival.
Oh.
So we had to kind of like stay in a place, but then we kind of split up because like Rick, like you went somewhere. I don't remember where you guys went, but John, the other guy in our troupe, who's a very sweet guy, and right before he joined SAK, he started following a guru in India, and so he, when we were on tour, he enjoyed living in the closet because that gave him a space to have total privacy and to meditate like 6 hours a day. Yeah. Anyway, he and I ended up at this absolutely skanky motel in West Hollywood with one bed and a mirror on the ceiling that was surrounded by fur. I have no idea why somebody would put a mirror on the ceiling above the bed. I don't know. But fortunately, John and I did not have to share the bed for that 3 weeks because he lived in the closet. So,
my gosh.
And the motel room also had a window, but there was actually no window. It was just a big gaping hole in the wall leading out to the. So, we had a lot of nice apartments, in other places except for that. So John and I spent a lot of time, in the car driving to the beach and trying to be calm on the beach for a while. But I don't know what the other three people did because people kind of split up.
Well, Katie, I can't remember where Katie went, but when we were in San Diego, my mother called. And back then, now that sounds like, oh, yeah, of course, she called you on your cell phone, of course, but there's no cell phone, right? So, somehow my mother got in touch with me and said, I know you're stuck there. I saw your letter. Your father, your birth father, lives in LA, and I have his number and his address. And I actually called him and said that you were around, and would you like to? And I hadn't seen him in, I don't know. I was a tiny little kid.
Wow.
So we went and stayed with my birth father for a month.
I remember that now.
He was a very nice man, but it was a little bit of a weird freak show for Diane and I because he had a very interesting. He was a photographer. He was very interesting. Anyway, he gave us lots of advice, and he had been living in El Salvador and had to leave very quickly for some reason. It was like very sketchy, but
was there a picture of a Malus Phallus? Maybe he got the Malus Phallus.
Not that gender, no.
But Malus Phallus is what you drink from. And you had mentioned a couple of people. I want to touch on a couple of things because I saw that Stephen Pride had a comment on. Now, Stephen Pride was actually with Gary's troupe, but he wasn't able to get with us online here today. But he's in the comment section, so he's viewing the show. If you guys want to say hello to Stephen, he says Luann looks so young. So Stephen Pride is with us. Yeah. And then on the other troupe, there were a couple of folks in the other troop. Kate Singleton was one, and John Matula. I don't know where John Matula is. I haven't been able to get a hold of him. But actually, we lost Kate Singleton. I think it was in 2010. And so I think I have a picture here. This is Kate in your troop. And then there's one more shot of Kate Singleton, who passed away, unfortunately, in 2010. So we miss her as well. But the people who are in the troops, and also on your guys' troop, Gary and Luann, I think I mentioned it before, Paula Rossman was in your troop. So there's still a lot of people, and everybody's all over the country doing lots of different things. So that's very cool and very nice. Any more stories about like where you're living and how you're living? And what about Gary? I know, what about some hazardous things that happen? I know, Gary, if there's one story about a car fire or something. So tell us a little bit, maybe each troop, what is a heinous thing or just a very weird or odd thing that happened to you guys? So Gary, do you remember this?
Yes. Where it was, I don't exactly remember, but we were driving across some long stretch of country, and we were all sleeping in the truck. And the thing that's important here is that normally we would put all of our personal belongings in the camper, and we put all the props and stuff in the truck. This time we put all the props and stuff in the camper and put all our personal belongings in the truck. For some reason, we don't know. Okay. But anyway, Steve Hosley was driving. He had headphones on, and he's just cruising, and he's got his vibe going and his tunes, and all of a sudden there's all this commotion, and I wake up, and it's like, what's going on? The trailer's on fire. And the tire had blown on the trailer and had wrapped around so many times that it got balled up in one big lunk of a rubber and started on fire underneath the wheel well. The good news is, being my dad was a LP gas technician, I learned to bleed the lines, so we didn't have gas up to the stove in the camper, thank God. Wow. But it was burning, and so we ran back there, what to do. In our infinite wisdom, we opened the door and let all the oxygen, whoop, the camper went up. And so we had to get it off of the trailer, off the truck, and it was laying on its side on the ground. And Hosley and I had that kind of adrenaline thing. We just literally picked it up, and we moved the truck out and set the trailer down. The fire department showed up. It pretty much toasted the camper. Everything got smoked out or burnt, and we had to do stuff. And but nobody died, and the truck didn't blow up. So we were able to win.
Oh my gosh, that is a harrowing experience. That's going to be tough to follow, Troop B. Now, I also want to go on this. I've been calling you Troop A and Troop B because that's what it said on that audition notice. But my wife Morgan seems to remember one of the troops being called Magenta. So I'm sure you guys. Yeah, there it is. Did you guys call yourself Troop A and Troop B, or did one of you call yourselves the Magenta Troop? And what did the other call yourself? Was there a Magenta Troop?
I remember that being the case. I don't know what the other color was, and I don't know who was Magenta.
I remember that at the beginning you decided very cleverly, Jamie, that we were Troop 1 and they were Troop A. And then I think
we were none of us too big.
The color thing came up somehow. I'm pretty sure it was Diana that named us the Magenta Troop.
Magentas, yeah.
Of course, that sounds like it would be Diana. So Troop Magenta 1B. What? Any harrowing stories that you guys recall?
No, we had a similar experience.
What?
When we're coming out of Florida, we're going through Georgia, and I remember it being pretty late at night, and our trailer tire blew also. I was driving, and there was sparks coming out. But what I remember about it was, like not knowing what to do, things like that. But we stopped, and a state trooper came. And he actually walked back on the road a mile trying to find our wheel, which
that's right.
Come off. And so we were standing there, and I'm like, we don't have anywhere to go. This guy's gone. And 40 minutes later, this state trooper comes back rolling the wheel. Yeah, found it. And I'm like, that's like police, So, and I don't remember, we must have had a spare or something, but he got us going, and we went on our way.
And remember, no cell phones. We were in the middle of you don't know where, and sometimes we were in some pretty strange locales, and
Yeah, we were in the middle of Georgia, middle of the night, and we're surrounded by vampires. You guys remember that? I might be making that up.
Wait a second. This is is any of this true? Now you got me wondering. Did any of this?
I might have made part of that up.
We don't know where to draw that line. Luann, did you have a thought of something? Or
I was just remembering that the big bear boots really smelled. I mean, it smelled like smoke for the rest of the tour. That big fire, the costumes just stank, and you had to put them on in the heat in Houston. The audience would just stay on us because we were. I mean, and it was so hot, and they weren't really laundered.
Here's what those boots look like, because people might not know. The Big Bear show with the Big Bear. I think that's Rick and Jamie, but Gary and Steve Hosley would play the.
Oh my goodness!
The other troupe, and the other one was what is it? Raccoon and
Turtle.
Raccoon and Turtle. The other cast members were dressed up as so wonderful, wonderful.
They turned.
Yeah.
Step by step.
I see a question came in on the comments. Oh, I'm sorry. I was messing up a bit there. I'm so sorry.
I just remember
She knows the line. She knows the line.
And then I remember we'd pull people from the audience, of course, and then we'd have him took out his sword and then would finally pull it out, look up, and we'd all these eyes, of course, size is everything, or or just these bits that we would do. And
well, you guys will remember this one here. I'm gonna just set it up real quickly, but he spun around. Everybody,
he staggered over
here, and he died. Over there.
Yes, you all win the prize. Yes, indeed. That's the way we do it. That's old school.
I have a memory.
Yes, we want some good show memories. Go ahead.
So we were still in San Diego at this point, and Rick decided that we were going to do Gorbaduck. But in this particular show, everyone would die, even us. And it was brilliant. We had the giant storybook. I don't know if you have one of the pictures, but we each had to hold the storybook and come up with how we died. Do you remember that, Rick?
I do. That was a super good festival. We were friends with Penn and Teller.
Yes.
And Penn and Teller did not. They hated Tim Wade. Teller and Danny went to go see their show on Broadway, and Teller tried to make him leave the theater. And Penn went, Teller, come. But he hated it because they always said that SAK stole the idea of getting the audience to yell at the beginning of the show to attract a crowd from them.
Huh.
So with Penn and Teller, we were opposite Penn and Teller at Canada's Wonderland in Toronto, and for 11 straight days of joy. And there was one of our shows, and we constantly heard the crap from them about stealing their bits and stuff. It's like, oh my God. And finally, there was one day where we were literally the last show of the day. And I was on the loudspeaker because we were trying to get people to move up to our stage so we could get them out of there. And I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, SAK Theater's last show of the day begins on whatever stage it was at such and such a time. Again, SAK Theater's last show of the day begins at, and all of a sudden here comes Penn. He's like, you're stealing our bits, but it's the last show of the day. And I'm like, are you serious? It's like, dude, it is the last show of the day. It's not a bit. It's an announcement. Perhaps you should learn the difference between the two. But
well, I have a Penn Jillette story too to add in. So as I said earlier, in San Diego, the festival went bankrupt halfway through, and so Terry asked me to politely and in a humble way, go over to the office and demand that we get paid what the guy would, said he would pay us. And so I went over to the office and I opened the door, and there's Penn Jillette, whatever, like 7'9" of him or whatever. Yeah. He's got the guy, the owner, by the lapels, bent over backwards on the desk. He's like, "Give us our freaking money!" And I'm like, I don't think I have to ask that hard after Penn did the groundwork for me. I actually don't know if we ever got the money, but
it was your pre-show.
Wonderful. All right, we're going to have some more stories, but I think I'm going to let the audience play one more contest. What does this say? Terry says, vaudevillians never stole bits from other performers. Not vaudevillians. They would never do that. So I think I've got one more hacky sacky. Congrats to Robbie Pygod. Let's see if this one is tough for anybody. Do you have hacky sacky number 3? Is that up in there? A sick Darth Vader. A sick Darth Vader. It's a hacky sacky. So once again, it's just two syllable words, but we'll let you guys mull on that for a while. And I do have one more little contest for you guys, because we got to break a tie here in a little bit because it's kind of even now with Troop A and Magenta. But let's take more stories, more fun memories. Also, if there are any, what were some of the other acts that you really liked? We don't want to spend a lot of time on this because this is really about us and you guys. But what were some of the acts that you found inspiring, hilarious, thought-provoking?
I really liked Danny Lord.
I was going to say the same.
And I found out a lot about Danny Lord later in life, because after I left SAK and I was living in Canada, I did a number of street performer festivals doing different types of characters and stuff, and ended up becoming friends with this guy Arsene and
Arsene Lupin. Yes,
yeah, we would have these conversations about it. Like, there was one festival where Arsene was doing his show and Danny was doing his show as well.
Yeah.
So he was doing the same show that Arsene was doing on another stage, and like now we think of the way that Danny would behave and the different weird stuff that he would put, instead of putting mime face on, he would put it just around his lips. And he did all these weird things. He had a pet. He's had 3 of them now. He has a pet duck. And it ended up where he could no longer work anywhere. Nobody would hire him. And he got a job guessing people's age and weight. Which he somehow knew how to do.
So he's good at it.
Do you guys remember Pick, the Pickle Man?
Oh my God!
Yeah, Pick. Yeah.
So we were in the middle of a show at Largo, and he'd go and he'd hurl pickles, and he'd yell "incoming," and you never know where it was going to be. And one time we're in the middle of a show, and all of a sudden I hear way down the lane, "incoming," and I looked up and I went bam and caught a pickle right in front of me.
You caught a pickle.
Never do again, but it was memorable, and he was pretty cool. He made a hell of a show out of selling pickles.
He did.
It was unbelievable. I see we got a winner. Steve Pernick comes in with the winner for this hacky sacky number 3, a sick Darth Vader. That would be an Illin villain. Yes, indeed.
Ellen.
Well done, using your apostrophe correctly, my friend. All right. So go ahead, Luann. What?
Do you remember Abner the Eccentric? He would show up at some festivals. He was a sting clown. And Magical Mystical Michael the Magician.
Yes.
And Johnny Fox, the sword swallower.
Yeah, Johnny Fox.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
I mean, really unique talents, but so kind. I mean, they were really.
Remember Phil Belknap? Do you remember Phil?
Oh yeah, jeez.
So like Phil Belknap, and there was a few of us that got together. We created a band to play during the week, and we had a band called Men Without Tights, which was relevant at the time. So Men Without Tights played, so it was kind of our weekly gig, and we'd play parties and stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Very cool. All right, so
Another one, Steve, I have one more. Dan O'Sullivan.
One more. Go.
Dan O'Sullivan. He was wonderful. We met him in St. Louis before he came to SAK.
Indeed.
Yeah. So
with his chicken towel.
it's so great how many festival performers came to work at SAK, but it's also great. I just loved it. I think at the time it was called the New Vaudeville, the New Vaudevillians, and it's just some great variety acts. And like a Renaissance Festival is really the only place where they were really honored and celebrated and really had a space to really explore their work in their different talents. And there were some incredibly talented people. All right, John, bring up that wheel. I'm going to see, I got one more little contest because we're even here. And I know it's so, let's just see who goes first. Just go ahead and spin that and we'll see who is going to contest against. So it's going to be, all right, so it's going to be Gary versus Jamie now for this final one. So thank you very much. Gary versus Jamie. You have to hit this on the nose. You have to hit it correctly. We'll go a couple of rounds if you need it. But I am thinking of a number between -3 and +3. What is that number? You each get a first guess in the first round. Go.
0.
Incorrect. Gary, your first round pick.
1.
That is incorrect. Jamie, your second round pick.
Between -3 and +3?
Yes.
100.
I don't think that's within that range, but yes, go ahead, Gary.
2.
Oh, no, we're burning these numbers down here. It's taking longer than I thought it would. Jamie, go ahead.
Magenta.
Oh, no, Gary, you know. Gary, a new number.
-1.
Yes, that is correct. It is. It's -1. That's between -3 and +3. I know you're like, what? But it's just a little different way of doing it. Jamie's still a little confused.
I think it's magenta, so I'm going with that.
All right.
I like magenta better, quite frankly.
Magenta is better. Gary, I have to say, your the shirt that you're wearing, it's like the way you're kind of moving. It's like it moves sometimes, and it just feels like it's just so eerie. It's like the extra head on Harry Potter with Voldemort. Ooh, it's a little bit disarming. All right, so we just have it's already 8 o'clock. It's about the time. I really have enjoyed having you guys here. It's been great to have you. But before we go, just to tell everybody, and we just have like 10 seconds or less. It's like what you're doing now, where you live now, and what you're doing. So just real quick, if we can, Gary, you go.
I live in Orlando, Florida, with my wife and my 11-year-old son. And I am a creative director for a company called PSAV, but currently furloughed.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. That's all the time we have. Who's next? What do you want to do? Just what do you want to plug real quick?
What do I want to plug?
No, I was talking to Luann. I don't know what you want to do.
I live in New York City. I live around the corner actually from Paula, and she lives 2 balconies in a different building on I live in Times Square.
Hello to Paula.
She's doing a big reading tonight, so she couldn't be here. But I tour around the country. I'm a storyteller, and I do one-person performances. I was up in a program for a planetarium in Michigan and wrote a show for them. And
very good.
Yeah.
We got to move. So that's great. You're a storyteller. Diana, what are you up to? You live where?
I live in Orlando in my house, and we are furloughed from Disney. But my husband is going to be opening up a new restaurant called NOLA in Avalon Park, hopefully by the end of the year.
Very good. Good plug. Rick, what do you got? Where are you at?
I live in Toronto, Ontario, with 2 cats, and I'm a full-time university student.
Very good. And how about you, Jamie?
I live in Minneapolis, and for 30 years I've been studying with indigenous shamans, and so I teach teach workshops out of my house and in other places on the land. And today I just had my 2nd book published. It's on Amazon.
Yay. Wow, great job, everybody. Well, very good. Yeah. So all these guys are on Facebook too, except Diana. Sorry, Diana. But if you want to follow them along, hopefully you can see the spelling of their name in the credit roll that's going to run. I'm just going to take a quick second to do a little more business, and then I want to make sure we are able to say goodbye to all of you guys. It looks like I have frozen up there all of a sudden, but there I go again. I'm glad I waited till the end to freeze me up there. So please support SAK. Go to SAK.com, buy tickets. You can donate if you want to. Also want to just let you know some things that are happening. This is our lineup for more shows coming up here. And let's see, I'm going to get this added on here. So on Wednesday, August 12th, that is tomorrow. Well, that's TBD. On Thursday, you can see something coming up, Isolation Happy Hour with Rob Ward. On Friday, it's Lowrider with Show and Tell. Saturday, you can see SAK Game Night with Jay Hopkins. On Sunday, we got a couple of shows, Alex and VK with Tell Me Something Good. And also we've got Bracket Brothers at 8 p.m. And then also on Monday, you can see the Nightly Check-In with Robbie Pygott, who won one of our Hacky Sackies. You can see his show on Monday night. And then, of course, a week from now on Tuesday the 18th, please come back here, SAK Backtracks with David Russell, where we're going to be talking with all the SAK techs throughout the years who have been at the SAK Comedy Lab. And I guess, technically there have been some SAK techs as well who have worked. I got to see if I can get my control back there. Very good. All right. I think I have control, but I am frozen. Let's use that SAK Live and see if that's what's holding me up there. I'm frozen, but I'm still talking. John Valinas, can you come to the screen again for the?
Hi. Yes. What do you want me to do, Dave?
At least you can hear my voice. I'm going to just have you along with everyone else. We're just going to do a goodbye as I show off my wonderful teeth there. Children in the kindergarten said, brush your teeth before you go to bed. Thank you all very much for being here. I'm really glad that you were all here. I'm really pleased that this could come off as well as it did in the meantime. Everybody say goodbye and roll those credits, Mr. John.
Good night, everybody.